You know, a lot of sim pilots think flying helicopters is impossibly hard when it's not. You just need the right drills, a little practice, and maybe a different mindset. If you're new to helicopters, or you've tried and rage quit, or maybe you just want to get a little better, this video is for you. I'm going to show you a set of simple drills that I still use to this day that build skill fast. They're short, they're scalable, and they're actually a ton of fun. You can do these in anything you want, from a Cabri to a Huey. Although if you're just getting started, I really recommend the Huey because of its stability. That's what I'll fly today, just to give you a better example of how it works. What do you say we get buckled up, hit the tarmac, and get in the air? So here we are in the Huey, in the cockpit. You can do this at any runway you want. We're training at KAAT, Alturas Municipal. I'll leave the link below. Let's just warm up a little bit. What I want you to do is lift as slowly as you can. So increase collective, maybe 3 feet, 4 feet. I want you to try to maintain a hover and then set back down as gently as you can. It's gonna wanna kind of wander in a certain direction, and that's okay. Very small inputs to stop that wandering. I only want you to go up 3, 4 feet, and then I want you to get established as much as you can. It's okay if you're wandering. It's okay if you're over in the grass here, but set down as gentle as you can. Do this 5 to 10 times. Get familiar with it. Now, let's get on to the drills. All right, this first drill is called numbers. It's very simple, like the rest of the drills. What I want you to do is start at one runway number, lift into a stabilized hover very slowly, translate straight down the runway, under control, and land on the opposite numbers. And then I want you to repeat that. So I got my close to stabilized hover. I know I'm going to be moving forward, so I sort of cheated in that direction. As you get faster, as you get more comfortable, you can go a little bit faster, but starting out, I would keep it about 20, 30, 40 miles per knots. Right now we're at 30. The important thing is go whatever speed allows you to A, maintain control, and B, end up where you want to be. Now, when you start, you're probably not going to be anywhere near the numbers, but it will get you used to the relationship between the controls and the effect it has on the helicopter. I am just using pressure, not even moving the stick per se. Using the torque pedals to maintain my heading and combining that with the cyclic and the collective. That is numbers. Good job. Let's move to the next one. All right, this next drill is called taxi. You can imagine what it is. We are going to simulate a taxi. And it doesn't have to be an actual taxi line. It can be a dirt road that's in the country or in the mountains that you like. It can be whatever. You can chase the ground vehicles at a slow speed. Point is just slow speed control. Slow speed control. It started to get a little crazy there. When you see rotor wash in the Huey, you know you are close to the ground. So and then the important part of this drill is in certain areas, I want you to stop. So maybe it's a refilling area. Maybe it's a end of a runway where you've been assigned to ATC to take off. But That is taxi. Not complicated, but very useful and very good thing to practice. Moving on to the next set of drills, this is called the Drunken Square. Pick any square, any 4 points. It doesn't even have to be a square. Take turns hovering to the next one, turning your heading, going to the next one, landing. So one you're hovering, one you're landing. But even the ones you hover, I want you to stop on that corner above it, or as best you can, right? So there's our first one. We got a stopped hover, land at the next one. I think the wind might be getting me a little bit here or something. But it doesn't need to be perfect. That's not the idea. All right, there's our corner. So we're gonna lift off very quietly, very slowly. We're gonna turn headings. We're going to go to the next corner. We're going to hover above it. Way too early there on the decel. There we go. Gonna turn. And we're going to land at the next corner. Good job. That is the Drunken Square. All right, this one's called Transcend. And what we're going to do is establish our short hover, climb us straight up 50 feet, stop, descend straight back down, and do the best we can to land in the exact same spot. So slowly lifting off. I'm going to use visual cues in the Huey to make sure that I am staying within walking, wandering speed of where I want to be. That was pretty rough right there. I'm looking at my radar altitude to ensure that I am at 50. There's 50. We're going to stop. We're going to come right back down, nice and slow and steady. This is a good way to practice descents at a controlled rate. Sometimes guys get in a hurry and you get into a vortex ring state, or start losing your heading, or start wavering a little bit. Really good practice for that. Again, probably one of my weaker maneuvers or drills, but it's there to practice if you'd like. That is Transcend. All right, on to our next drill. This one is called Balance Beam. We're going to land centered on a line, our runway stripe or taxi line, and there's no sideways drift allowed. So imagine you were on a balance beam, not only when you land, but as you come down. Now, realistically, is that going to happen? No. But what we're trying to teach here is lateral control, alignment with your torque pedals, and micro corrections. So if you've seen when I come in on those numbers at the end, and I'm really trying hard to stay stable, that is me sort of using the balance beam as it's kind of a hybrid drill, right? So I'm looking way down the runway, maybe not to the numbers, but I'm picking a spot and I'm imagining that my skids have to balance that line as I come down. Little micro corrections. Oop. Little micro corrections. A little right there. Probably, yeah, that was really close. That was not my best. But again, That's why you work on it. You don't have to be perfect. It's just the practice that helps. So this next drill is called Lotus Leaps, and it may seem a little the same to Drunken Square, but the difference is the speed in which you do them. So imagine lily pads, right? You are in a pond and you are jumping like a frog from one to the other. I don't want it to be out of control. I don't want you to come down haphazardly, but what I want you to do is make these landings as quick and as decisively as you comfortably can as you bounce from one area to the next. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of taking a little scout here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna bounce from, they all have flat roofs? Nope. 2 of them do. All right, so we've got 3 buildings with flat roofs, 4, but we're gonna use 3 of them. Round one, red one in the middle there, and then the one on the other side. Then we're gonna go to 2 of the helipads, and you'll kind of see what I'm saying. Hopefully these are solid. So first one, we're going to line up and not come down too fast. We're not going to come down too fast on any of these, but I will show you a little trick. You see how I kind of come in catty-cornered a little bit? It allows me to sort of see where I'm going. There's our first one. Looking at the red building, again, coming in catty-cornered. Have to take my time a little more because that's a tighter spot to land. And then we're going to go to our third victim, this brown building. Again, using my torque pedal to sort of keep things where I can see them. A little slower on that. And we're going to go to, it doesn't really matter which one. I'm going to pick this spot here. And again, it's not careless. It's just coming in with a little more gusto than normal. It's still going to be slow. This is, you know, this is pretty what I would call advanced. Like, you're not going to be able to just practice for 10 minutes and then be able to do this. So I don't want you to get frustrated. This is something I want you to work towards, but try to be accurate on your landings. Don't come down so fast that you are not accurate. But that is Lotus Leap. And finally, we have the orbit. One of my favorites, one of the most fun, and I think probably one of the most beneficial drills you can do. And it's exactly what it sounds like. We're going to pick something and orbit around it. Now, it doesn't have to be anything. Sometimes I think it's better to use shorter things, so you're trying to keep it a little lower. The windsock is a great example, and I think we're going to use that. But if you go to New York City, the Statue of Liberty is great. Rio de Janeiro, the statue there, all of those I like to orbit around and have. So we're going to take off. We're going to get stabilized. And what we have to do with this is coordinate all of the controls. Your cyclic, you are tilting in the direction that you want to go, barely. If you get going too fast, you want to tilt back the other way. If you get going too forward, you need to release the pressure, like right there I had to, so it stays back a little bit. If you start wandering back, you want to press towards the item you're orbiting. So your torque pedals, depending on the helicopter you were in, are all going to be different. So some, if they have a counter-rotating rotor than what you're used to, you may have to use the opposite one to get the effect that you want. Your collective, the whole time you are sawing on it microscopically to maintain the altitude that you want. I don't want you to go fast. What is more important in this is control and making sure that the helicopter is smooth. Fast does not matter with much of anything in helicopters. They aren't designed to go fast, they're designed to be precise. Remember, microscopic movements, this is not easy. It's something that you will do and you can do. And it is something that you have to work towards. And once you get used to it, and once it kind of clicks, very rewarding, very fun to do. Yeah, if you have a friend on the ground and you want to orbit him to be able to look at him, it's a cool effect, cool feeling. And once you get comfortable going one way, maybe go the other way. But, so this doesn't get too long, I'm going to end the video there. If you liked it, if you got some use out of it, I'd love for you to like the video. Consider subscribing. I plan to do a lot more of this kind of stuff, do some plane reviews, whatever. I really enjoy it. Thanks again. Have a good one.